Welcome to the deep dive. You ever find yourself in a conversation and the phrase, I don't know, just keeps popping out, and you feel like you've kind of hit a conversational dead end, or maybe it just sounds a little, well, unhelpful?
Oh, absolutely. It's such a common thing, isn't it? And while, I don't know, it's fine, really, using it all the time, it can subtly limit how fluent, how confident you sound.
Right.
What's really interesting, I think, is how using different ways to say you're unsure, it's not just about having more words. It actually shows a deeper feel for the language.
Like you can adapt.
Exactly. Adapting to the situation, the tone, it makes you think a bit more about how you're coming across.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for this deep dive then?
Well, our mission really is to help you transform how you respond in those moments when you're uncertain. We're aiming to unlock, 21 smart, natural alternatives to, I don't know, think of it like a fluency shortcut. Yeah, a toolkit. And it's really geared towards you, our B2-C1 learners, intermediate advanced speakers who want to sound that bit more natural, more confident day to day.
We want you walking away ready for anything, from just, chatting with friends to maybe a more polite workplace exchange.
And you'll have the phrases to do it.
I'm actually really excited to get into these. It's kind of fun discovering how just changing a few words can really open up a conversation instead of shutting it down.
It is, and it's about the power these phrases have, subtly. You're not just stopping the conversation. You might be inviting more discussion or offering to find something out.
Or just showing uncertainty in a more engaging way.
Exactly. It's about being comfortable saying you don't know, but doing it with confidence, with grace.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this. We'll start with some really common ones, easy ones maybe.
Yeah, build up slowly, then move towards maybe more colorful or slightly more formal options.
We'll look at the meaning, the nuance, give some real examples.
And get you practicing along the way. Let's dive in.
Okay, first up.
Yeah.
Probably one you hear all the time. I'm not sure.
Yes. This is such a great one. It's polite, it's softer, definitely more diplomatic than a flat, I don't know.
Right.
It basically means, I'm not certain or I don't have the answer right this second. And the best part, it works almost anywhere. Super versatile.
And what I like about it is how easily it pairs with like an offer to help. So if a friend asks, is the library open today? Instead of just, I don't know, you could say, I'm not sure. Let me check online. See, it's not just, I lack info, it's, I'll try to find out. Shows you're willing.
Precisely. It changes the dynamic, doesn't it? It turns that potential dead end into more of a joint effort. You're still engaged.
Let's imagine that little dialogue you mentioned.
Okay. Friend says, do you think we need to bring anything to the party tonight?
You could say, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll text Sarah and ask if we should bring some snacks.
And the friend goes, good idea. Let me know what she says.
See how that combo, I'm not sure, plus a follow-up like, but I'll find out, or let's see, just flows better, sounds way more proactive.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get you to try it. Say it nice and slow. I'm not sure.
Good. Now, maybe in a sentence. Repeat after us. I'm not sure what time the meeting starts.
Nice. Quick scenario for you. Someone asks, do you know when our next exam is? How would you answer using, I'm not sure?
If you thought something like, I'm not sure, but I can check the schedule, you've absolutely got it. Keeps things moving.
Okay, so building on that. Sometimes you're not just unsure, you are completely blank, right?
Clueless.
For those times, we've got a stronger, more emphatic one. I have no idea.
Yeah, this one definitely hits harder than I'm not sure. It really emphasizes, absolutely nothing about the end.
For information. It's common, it's casual, but yeah, it's more direct.
So someone asks, what's John's favorite movie? You could say, I have no idea. We never talked about movies. It's clear, emphatic.
Right. It kind of signals, don't ask me that specific thing, or think about this workplace chat.
Okay.
Colleague, hey, do you know why the boss called an emergency meeting?
Employee, I have no idea. He didn't give any details.
Colleague, I guess we'll find out in the meeting.
It shows shared puzzlement there.
Exactly. It's honest, it's direct. Just watch the tone. You want it calm or maybe lighthearted so you don't sound too abrupt.
Good tip. Maybe add a quick sorry sometime.
Yeah, sorry, I have no idea. That softens it nicely. Okay, let's practice. Say it slowly. I have no idea.
Good. Now a full sentence.
Yeah.
Try this. I have no idea what to buy for her birthday.
Nice one. Okay, your turn. Imagine a friend asks, hey, do you know how to fix this computer error? What do you say?
If you said, I have no idea, spot on. And maybe adding sorry. Makes it even better.
All right, moving on. Let's look at a couple of more colorful ways to say you're completely stumped. I haven't got a clue.
And I have the faintest idea.
Yeah, these are quite similar. Strong, idiomatic. They mean, I really don't know. Absolutely no idea.
Faintest idea. That sounds a bit more British, maybe? Or slightly more formal?
It can be, yeah. Or sometimes foggiest idea. Haven't got a clue. Is maybe a bit more common, more casual.
Both signal, like zero understanding, total blank. So if someone asks, how does this complicated machine work?
You could just throw your hands up and say, I haven't got a clue.
Right.
Utterly stumped.
Or maybe in the office, a coworker asks, any idea who's supposed to present after John?
You might respond, I haven't the faintest idea. It wasn't on the schedule, as far as I know, or to my knowledge.
To my knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a good addition there. Sort of qualifies it.
Exactly. It implies, based on what I know, no. So yeah, haven't got a clue can be kind of self-deprecating, maybe funny.
Well, haven't the faintest idea can add a bit of drama or emphasis, perhaps.
Yeah, a touch of lighthearted exasperation, maybe. Okay, let's try saying them first. I haven't got a clue. Go on.
Good. Now the other one. I haven't the faintest idea.
Nice. They're a bit longer, those ones. Okay, quick challenge. Your friend asks, why do people dream? What could you say?
You could go with either, I haven't got a clue, or I haven't the faintest idea. Both work great for showing you're really stumped.
Perfect. Okay, next up, a short, very casual little idiom you hear a lot. Beats me.
Yeah, beats me. It's so short and punchy.
It really is. Means I have no idea or I don't get it at all. You use it when you're genuinely puzzled or stumped by something kind of weird or unexpected.
Like, why does our Wi-Fi keep disconnecting today?
Yeah. And you just shrug and say, beats me, it was fine yesterday. It implies, this situation makes no sense to me.
Good for when you don't understand why something's happening or why someone's behaving a certain way.
Right. And it often comes with a bit of a puzzled look, maybe a little chuckle. It's very informal, though.
So maybe not for the super formal meeting with the CEO.
Probably not. But great for chatting. Like,
friend, how on earth did this cat get into our house? We don't even own a cat.
You beats me. I've never seen this cat before either.
Friend, huh? Weird. Must sneaked in.
See? Your beats me fits perfectly. Complete, slightly amused confusion.
Okay, let's try saying it. Nice and short. Beats me.
And now a bit longer. It beats me why everyone is obsessed with that show. Try repeating that.
Good stuff. Okay, scenario time. Why do dogs chase their tails?
If you went with beats me, perfect. Shows you find it puzzling and have zero explanation.
Cool. Okay, next phrase. Who knows? This one's interesting because it's a question, but it works like an answer.
Exactly. It's rhetorical. It implies nobody knows, or maybe your guess is as good as mine. You use it when the answer is just a mystery or totally unpredictable. Unknowable, really.
Like if someone asks, do you think it will snow on Christmas this year?
Yeah, a simple who knows is perfect. It acknowledges some things are just out of our hands, impossible to predict. It's kind of gentle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is like, I don't know, and probably no one does.
Right. And sometimes it has that sort of sighing, contemplative feel, like this.
Teenager. Mom, what will the world be like in 50 years? Flying cars, robots.
Who knows? A lot can change in 50 years.
Teenager. Yeah, I guess so.
It works in casual chats, even semi-formal ones. Often comes with a little shrug or a sigh, maybe a laugh.
Let's try it. Practice saying, who knows?
Good. Now in a sentence. Who knows where he left the keys? Try that.
Nicely done. Okay, quick challenge. Do you think there's life on other planets?
If you replied, who knows? You've perfectly captured that sense of mystery. No definite answer possible.
All right, let's tackle phrase 6. Don't ask me.
Okay, this one's informal and the tone is everything. It can be playful, kind of lighthearted.
Or delivered differently. It could sound a bit frustrated, maybe even a little rude.
Exactly. Literally, it's don't ask me because I don't know. It suggests the question is maybe difficult or unanswerable by you, or maybe asked to the wrong person entirely.
So getting the tone right is crucial. If someone complains, why did our football team lose so badly? And you say, don't ask me, with a smile or a sigh.
Right. It shows you're just as puzzled or frustrated as they are, shared feeling. But without that friendly vibe, yeah, it could sound dismissive.
It's good for that shared bafflement then.
Definitely. It often signals you're on the same page, feeling the same confusion. Like this.
Friend, why does our neighbor always start mowing the lawn at 7 a.m. on Sunday? It's so annoying.
Don't ask me. I can't figure him out either.
Friend. Right, so early.
See? The little laugh or chuckle in your voice makes it clear you're commiserating, not being genuinely annoyed at your friend.
Good distinction.
Ah.
Okay, let's practice. Try saying, don't ask me.
Now, a slightly longer one. Give this a go. Don't ask me why, but the printer just stopped working.
Nice. Okay, your turn. How would you respond to this? Ugh, why is there a traffic jam at midnight?
If you replied, don't ask me, you nailed it. You're saying, I have no idea and it makes no sense to me either.
Perfect. Moving on to phrase 7, a real classic idiom for shared cluelessness. Your guess is as good as mine.
Ah, I like this one. It's so clear. It means I don't know either, and honestly, whatever you guess is just as likely to be right as anything I could guess.
It really emphasizes that, doesn't it? We're both equally in the dark here.
Yeah, some sources really highlight that it's used for emphasis when you genuinely don't know. It's not just, I don't know, it's more like, I have no idea, and I suspect nobody really does.
So if I asked you something huge, like, when will this pandemic finally end?
You might sigh and say, your guess is as good as mine. It captures that feeling perfectly. Some things are just unknowable. We can only speculate.
It creates a nice feeling of, like, camaraderie in not knowing.
It does. It's friendly, often kind of humorous. You can use it pretty widely. Friends, colleagues, maybe even lightly with a boss about something truly unpredictable. Here's a chat.
Friend, what time do you think the party will actually start? They said 8, but you know how these things go.
Your guess is as good as mine. Could be 9, maybe even later.
Friend, yeah, probably. Nobody's ever on time.
So effective for that shared understanding of uncertainty.
Okay, let's try saying it's a bit longer. Your guess is as good as mine.
Good work. Now try this one. Who will win the election? Your guess is as good as mine.
Excellent. Okay, quick challenge. When do you think flying cars will be common?
If you said, your guess is as good as mine, perfect. It's anyone's guess, truly unknowable right now.
Fantastic. We've hit 7 alternatives already.
Wow, time flies. Before we jump into the next batch, maybe let's pause for just a second. Think about the mindset here.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Because a big piece of this is realizing it's totally okay not to know stuff. Native speakers use these phrases constantly.
Absolutely.
And actually, choosing one of these alternatives, it often shows you're more engaged, right? Not just shutting down the chat with a flat, I don't know.
That's really the heart of it. You sound more fluent, more confident, because you're not just stopping. You might offer help or express it differently or invite more talk. Fluency isn't about knowing everything. It's about having the language to navigate when you don't know.
Doing it gracefully.
Exactly. Gracefully, effectively.
So my advice, just try them. Pick maybe 2 or 3 from the ones we've covered or ones coming up that you like and make a point of using them this week. It might feel weird at first.
But practice makes it natural. It builds that habit. Fluency comes from having this rich, everyday toolkit, not just, big, fancy words.
And honestly, don't stress too much about using the wrong one. If you follow the general vibe we're talking about, casual, formal, proactive, you'll be fine. Communication's the goal.
Right. Not perfection. So deep breath. Embrace not knowing and respond with confidence using these tools.
You've got this. Okay, ready to jump back in?
Let's do it. Phrase 8 is up, not off the top of my head.
This is a really useful one.
It is. It's perfect for when you think you might know something, but you just can't recall it instantly, right from memory.
It implies you'd need to check something.
Exactly. And it's often followed by, but let me look it up, or something similar.
It's polite, buys you a bit of time. Like if someone asks, do you know Karen's email? You could say, not off the top of my head. Let me check my contacts.
Yeah, it's great professionally.
Yeah.
It shows honesty or not guessing, but also initiative because you often offer to check. It's a really smooth way to handle a memory lapse without sounding like unprepared.
Manages expectations well. Okay, here's a dialogue example.
Colleague, do you remember our client's account number?
You. Not off the top of my head. I'll have to look it up in the system.
Colleague. Okay, no worries. Let me know when you find it.
Smooth.
Very. Okay, let's practice saying it. Not off the top of my head.
Good. Now the full kind of response. Not off the top of my head. I'll check and get back to you. Try repeating that.
Excellent. All right, scenario. Do you know the population of Prague?
If you answered not off the top of my head, that's perfect. You can follow up with, but I can look it up quickly.
Great. Okay, our next group of phrases is all about taking action, being proactive. We have, I'll find out, let me check, and I'll look into it.
Yeah, these are super powerful. They switch from I lack knowledge to I will provide a solution. I'll find out is pretty direct. A clear commitment. You don't know now, but you'll go get the info. Very professional. shows responsibility. You might say, I'm not sure, but I'll find out for you.
And let me check feels more immediate, right? Like if someone asks, is there milk left?
Yeah.
You'd say, let me check, as you're literally going to look.
Exactly. It's casual, signals an instant investigation, while I'll look into it is often a bit more formal.
Yep.
Think workplace, customer service. It implies maybe a slightly deeper dive investigating an issue.
And you often pair it with lacking it back to you.
Right. Like, client, we're having trouble logging into the app. Do you know what's wrong?
Support. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not sure what's causing it right now, but I'll look into it and get back to you shortly.
G avoids the blunt, offers a plan. Much better.
Definitely more engaging. Okay, let's practice these quickly first.
Yeah.
Let me check.
I'll look into it.
Fantastic. Okay, combined challenge, someone asks. Do we have any messages from the landlord about the water outage? What could you say?
Any of them work? I'll find out. Let me check, or I'll look into it. Depends if you're checking email right now or need to make a call later. I'll show initiative.
Perfect. Okay, phrase 11 helps you set some boundaries politely. I'm not the best person to answer that.
Ooh, this is a good one. Strategic.
It really is. It's a polite way to say, look, I don't know much about this specific thing. It's outside my area. Useful professionally or academically. You're emitting a limit, but also often redirecting them.
Yeah, it's a graceful deflection. Instead of just saying, I don't know, you're saying, I'm not the right person. Like, I'm not the best person to answer that. Maybe talk to IT.
Exactly. It preserves your credibility because you're not bluffing, and it actually helps the other person by pointing them to someone who can help. Saves everyone time.
Good point. Like in an interview, maybe.
Yeah, interviewer.
Yeah.
Can you explain the blockchain algorithm in this system?
Candidate. I'm afraid I'm not the best person to answer that in detail. My focus is really on the marketing side, not the deep tech.
Interviewer. Okay, fair enough. We can circle back on that with the tech lead.
That handles it really well. And you can soften it for casual chats too, like, I'm probably not the right person to ask about that.
Definitely. Okay, let's practice the main one. I'm not the best person to answer that.
And the variation. I'm not sure. I'm the right person to ask about that. Try repeating that.
Good. Quick challenge. Could you explain the physics behind how a rocket launches?
If you answered, I'm probably not the best person to answer that.
Nah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're clearly stating it's outside your expertise.
Nicely done.
Okay.
Fixed phrase is for when you genuinely can't help. I can't help you there.
This one sounds pretty direct.
It is fairly direct, yeah. It means I just don't have the knowledge or the info or maybe the skill to help with that specific thing.
So if someone asks, do you know how to fix this bike chain? You might say, oh, sorry, I can't help you there. Implies you lack the how-to.
Exactly. It's clear. And adding sorry makes it kinder, definitely. It implies, wish I could, but I genuinely can't.
Okay, here's a scenario.
Friend, do you know any good sushi restaurants around here?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you there. I don't really eat sushi.
Friend, okay. No problem. I'll just search online.
See? Honest, polite, not abrupt.
Perfect. Let's practice. Try saying, I can't help you there.
And with the apology. Sorry, I can't help you there. Give that a try.
Great. Now your challenge. Do you know how to code a mobile app by any chance?
If you said, sorry, I can't help you there, you got it. Clear and polite.
Excellent. Phrase 13 now. This is a straightforward, quite professional way to state you lack the info. I don't have that information right now.
Feels a bit formal, maybe.
A little, yeah. Polite and formal. It means I don't know because I don't have the data right here with me. It suggests the info does exist, just not with you at this moment. Great for work.
Right. So if asked, how many users signed up this month, you could say, I'm sorry, I don't have that information right now.
And then you'd ideally follow up with, but I can get it for you by this afternoon. Manages expectations, shows you're on it.
It could be combined with an estimate too, or an offer to check, like this.
Tourist, what's the entrance fee for the museum?
Guide. I'm sorry, I don't have that information right on hand. I think it's around $20, but let me double check the website for you.
Tourist, oh, thank you.
Helpful, even without the immediate answer.
Exactly. Okay, let's practice. Try repeating, I don't have that information right now.
And with a polite intro, I'm sorry, I don't have that information. Try that.
Good work. Okay, quick challenge. Do you know the Wi-Fi password for this cafe?
If you replied, I'm sorry, I don't have that information. Excellent. Polite and professional.
Okay, moving on to phrase 14. This one's a bit careful, a cautious way to say what you think is true. Not to my knowledge.
Right, this implies, as far as I know, or based on what I've heard.
Exactly. It means, as far as I know, the answer is no, or I haven't heard about that. You use it when you believe something isn't true, or you haven't received certain info, but you're kind of leaving room for correction.
It sounds quite professional. Implies, this is my current understanding, but maybe I don't have the full picture.
Precisely. So if someone asks, has the report been completed? You might say, not to my knowledge. It's specific to your awareness.
And it often leads to clarification or just signals your limited perspective. Here's a chat.
Coworker, are we required to work on Saturday this week?
Not to my knowledge, no one has mentioned anything about a weekend shift to me.
Coworker, okay, cool. Just wanted to double check.
It's a cautious way to answer. Useful when things might change or you're not the ultimate authority.
Definitely. Okay, let's practice. Try saying, not to my knowledge.
Now, a longer sentence. Has the policy changed? Not to my knowledge. Repeat that one.
Good. So, now for a challenge. Has the meeting been canceled?
If you answered not to my knowledge, you're clearly saying, as far as I'm aware, no, it hasn't been.
Perfect. Okay, next up. For something that just completely baffles you. Phrase 15, it's beyond me.
It sounds quite strong.
It is. It's an idiom for when something is so puzzling or difficult or confusing or just unbelievable that you genuinely cannot figure it out. It's beyond my understanding.
So it's not just, I don't know, it's more like, I cannot comprehend it. Like, it's beyond me how he managed to solve that puzzle so quickly.
Exactly. I have no idea how he did it. It defies my understanding. It really emphasizes being stumped. You can use it informally, semi-formally, often carries a bit of wonder or maybe exasperation.
Like with a riddle.
Yeah. Friend, can you figure out this riddle? What disappears as soon as you say its name?
It's beyond me. I give up. What is it?
Friend, silence.
Ah, good one. Okay, that's a great use case. Admitting defeat to a puzzle.
Right. Let's give it a try. Practice saying, it's beyond me.
And in context, it's beyond me how he aced that test without studying. Try repeating that.
Good. Now a quick challenge. Why would anyone climb Mount Everest without gear? That sounds insane.
If you responded, it's beyond me, you're perfectly expressing that you find that totally incomprehensible, maybe even absurd.
Absolutely. Okay, phrase 16 lets you add a touch of feeling, regret, or empathy. I wish I knew.
Oh, this one sounds kind of wistful.
It does. It conveys a genuine desire to know something you don't. I don't know, and I really, truly wish I did. It's great for empathy or just expressing personal curiosity about something important.
So if a friend is upset, asking, why did this happen? Saying soft, oh, I wish I knew. So it doesn't fix it, but it shows you care.
Exactly. It acknowledges their pain and shares in the uncertainty, or in a more sort of universal way.
Child, Dad, when will the pandemic finally be over?
Father, sighs. I wish I knew, kiddo. Hopefully soon.
That's a really tender, honest response. It works for serious things, but also lighter stuff you just genuinely like to know the answer to.
Right. Okay, let's practice. Try saying, I wish I knew.
And in a fuller thought, I wish I knew the answer to that question. Give that a try.
Excellent. Now, a scenario. I haven't heard from Jane in days. Where do you think she is?
If you said, I wish I knew, you've communicated both your lack of info and maybe your concern or curiosity too.
Perfectly put. Okay, phrase 17 is a super common conversational move, often used to buy time. That's a good question.
Yeah, people say this all the time.
They do. It acknowledges the question itself as valid, interesting, maybe complex. It buys you a moment to think, or it can lead into admitting uncertainty more gracefully. It's almost always followed by something else, an attempt to answer, or another, I don't know, alternative.
Right, it validates the asker. It doesn't just dismiss them. It says, you've made me think. Like this.
Student, why do we dream?
Teacher, that's a very good question. Honestly, the real answer is, well, I'm not sure anyone knows for sure. Scientists have lots of theories, though.
Student, oh, okay. So it's still a mystery.
Teacher, largely yes. It's a fascinating area of research.
C, it avoids dismissing the student and opens up a more nuanced discussion.
Yeah, that works well. Okay, let's practice. Try saying, that's a good question.
Yeah, maybe with a follow-up. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. Practice repeating that.
Perfect. Now for a challenge. Respond to my question, but start with, that's a good question. Ready? Why do cats sleep so much during the day?
If you started with, that's a good question, great first step, you could then add, I'm honestly not sure why they need so much sleep.
Awesome. Getting close to the end now. Phrase 18 is Pretty concise, conversational. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, this is informal. It basically means even if you pressed me, I wouldn't be able to give you the answer because I just don't have the information needed.
Right. So someone asks, what time does the movie start? You might say, oh, I couldn't tell you. I lost the ticket. Clearly states why you lack the data.
Exactly. It's similar to I have no idea, but maybe implies a specific reason for not knowing, even if you don't spell it out.
Friend, why did Jack stop talking to everyone and go offline?
You. I couldn't tell you. He didn't say anything to me about it either.
Friend. Huh. Weird. Hope he's okay.
In that case, I couldn't tell you. It clearly shows you're just as much in the dark as your friend is.
Okay, let's practice. Try saying, I couldn't tell you.
And in a sentence, I couldn't tell you why the bus is late. Give that a try.
Good. Time for a quick challenge. How does this magic trick work?
If you answered I couldn't tell you, spot on. You're saying you have zero explanation for it.
Great. Almost there. Phrase 19 is another short, informal idiom. Search me.
Huh. Yeah, this one's very casual.
Like you can search my brain, you won't find the answer.
Pretty much. You can search me for the answer, but you won't find anything because I have no idea. It often comes with a shrug, signaling total bafflement.
Dictionaries usually call it informal, right?
Yeah.
It's a quick way to say, I haven't a clue.
Exactly. It's good for kind of amused disbelief sometimes. Like,
Friend, why does our teacher always wear 2 watches?
you, shrugging, search me. It's the weirdest thing. I have no idea what that's about.
Friend, maybe one set to, like, Kokio time.
Search me is very informal, maybe a bit slangy. Great for friends, peers.
Okay, let's try it. Practice saying, search me.
And an extended informal sentence. Search me, I didn't even know we had a test today. Try that.
Good. Challenge time. Why would someone eat pizza with a fork and knife?
If you went with, search me. Well done. You're saying, I have absolutely no idea. Probably with a hint of amused confusion.
Excellent. Okay, final 2. These next 2 are powerful because they combine uncertainty with a promise. First, phrase 20. Let me get back to you on that.
Oh, this is a gold standard phrase. Incredibly useful, formal, and informal contexts.
What does it signal exactly?
It means I don't have the answer or decision right now, but I commit to finding it out or thinking about it, and I will follow up with you later. The emphasis is on returning with the answer.
Right. It's a close cousin to I'll find out, but maybe feels even more like a solid commitment to follow up. Very common professionally.
Definitely. If asked, can you give me the latest budget numbers? You might say, I don't have those right here, but let me get back to you on that this afternoon. Signals responsibility, action.
Manages expectations and shows you're going to deliver. Here's a dialogue.
Colleague. Do we know if the conference is going to be virtual or in person this year?
You? I'm not sure yet. Let me get back to you on that after I check with the event organizer.
Colleague. Okay, great. Thanks. Let me know.
See? Professional, proactive, controls the information flow.
Perfect. Okay, let's practice. Try saying, let me get back to you on that.
And with a bit more context, I'm not sure right now. Let me get back to you on that. Practice repeating that.
Perfect. Now, your challenge. Do you have the final report ready to send out?
If you answered with something like, not quite yet, let me get back to you on that in about an hour, you've got it. Clear commitment.
Fantastic. And now we've made it. Phrase 21, our final alternative. You've done great. Just one more. Let me think about it.
This one feels slightly different. Less about finding external info, more about internal processing.
Exactly. You use this when you need time to consider a question. Maybe you're not sure of your opinion, or you need to weigh options, or you just need a moment to process. I don't know right now. I need to think.
So it works for factual questions you need to recall and for opinion or decision questions.
Right. It's a graceful way to avoid a rushed answer, or non-committal maybe. If your boss asks, can you take on this new project? Saying, let me think about it and I'll let you know tomorrow, is much better than an uncertain, I don't know.
Shows you're taking it seriously, giving it consideration.
It acknowledges the question's weight. It can be followed by you literally thinking aloud, or it can mean you'll circle back later, like this.
Friend, do you know a good gift I could get for Mark's birthday?
You. Let me think about it. He likes tech stuff, doesn't he? What about those new noise-canceling earbuds?
Friend, ooh, good idea. He would love those.
See? Use it to kick off the brainstorming.
Nice. Okay, let's practice our final phrase. Try saying, let me think about it.
And an extended version. I'm not sure yet. Let me think about it for a day or two. Give that a try.
Excellent. Last challenge for this part. Do you want to join me in starting a small business?
Whoa, big question. If you said, wow, let me think about it, you've perfectly signaled you need time for such a major decision. No pressure for an instant yes or no.
And that is all 21.
Yeah.
Wow. We covered a lot of ground. Congratulations.
You really did stick with it. That's amazing. Your toolkit for handling uncertainty is seriously upgraded now.
And remember, it's okay if they don't all feel natural right away. You don't need to use all 21 every day.
Not at all. Even just picking a few you like and starting to weave them in, that'll make a huge difference in how natural you sound.
The key really is practice, isn't it? We did some repetition here, but keep it going. Shadowing is great. Replay bits of this. Speak along with us. Try to match the rhythm, the feel.
Yeah, those practice sections are designed for exactly that. And then, the big step, challenge yourself out there. Next time you catch yourself about to say, I don't know, pause. Just for a second.
See if one of these others fits.
Exactly. It might feel a bit clunky the first few times, but honestly, it gets easier fast. Soon it'll just be part of how you speak.
And remember that core idea. Sounding fluent isn't about never saying you don't know. It's about how you say it. Using these different phrases shows flexibility, adaptability, makes you sound more thoughtful, more engaging.
And just to reiterate that mindset piece, it is okay not to know everything. Nobody does. Native speakers certainly don't. The difference is they have lots of ways to say it, and now so do you.
Oh, one more tip, think about tone and maybe a bit of humor. Beats me or search me with a smile feels totally different.
Right. And I wish I knew with a warm, sympathetic tone really lands. Tone and body language, even just the tone your voice conveys, work together with these phrases.
Well, we really hope this deep dive has been helpful, truly insightful. You put in some great work today. That communication toolbox should feel a lot fuller now.
Definitely. Okay, before we sign off, how about one final challenge? Put it all together.
Let's do a rapid fire round. We'll ask 4 questions. For each one, try to respond instantly with a different phrase from our list. Test that versatility. Ready?
Okay, first question. Where did you leave the car keys?
Second question, why is the sky blue?
Third question. Did our team win the game last night?
And fourth question, what's the meaning of life?
No single right answer there, of course. As long as you use different alternatives. Maybe for the keys, I haven't got a clue. For the sky, that's a good question. For the game, not to my knowledge. And for life, maybe a thoughtful, let me think about it.
Or maybe, who knows? Or your guess is as good as mine. For the meaning of life. The point is having options and using them. Keep practicing like that. Ask yourself random hard questions, answer out loud. It really cements the vocabulary.
It does. Well, thank you so much for joining us and putting in the effort today. We really hope you feel more confident, more fluent with these 21 phrases ready to go.
Remember, next time you're stumped, you've got choices. Lots of them. Use them. Impress people. Impress yourself.
You've done brilliantly today. Keep practicing. Make them your own. We know you can do it.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious and keep speaking English.
All right, so are you ready to really level up those conversation skills? Today, we're going to dive deep into how to start conversations. You know, the kind that don't just fizzle out after, just a couple of awkward exchanges.
Right.
And so get our source today. It gives you 25 questions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But these aren't your typical small talk questions.
Okay.
They're designed to help you really connect with people on a deeper level.
Okay. So not just how's the weather?
Exactly. Whether you're at, networking event or a party or even just, chatting with someone new at the coffee shop.
I really like how our source today breaks these questions down into 5 categories.
Oh, yeah.
It's like having a roadmap, for all these different conversational situations.
I like that, a roadmap.
Yeah. So you've got your general questions, those are perfect for the initial icebreakers.
Uh-huh.
And then there are ones specifically for social settings, travel, and hobbies, work or school, and even fun personal preferences.
Okay, I totally get the whole categorization thing.
Right.
But how does asking someone about their favorite hobby actually lead to a deeper connection?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions with these kinds of questions.
Oh, I totally hear you.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. Instead of asking a closed-ended question do you have any hobbies?
Right.
Which, you'll probably just get a yes or no.
Yeah.
You could ask something like, what project are you most excited about right now?
Ooh.
And suddenly you're not just asking about hobbies.
Yeah.
You're inviting them to share what they're passionate about.
Oh.
And that's where the magic happens.
I like that it's shifting from a checklist to uncovering what makes someone tick.
Yeah.
And I guess the different categories help you tailor your approach depending on the situation, right?
Exactly. So let's say you're at a networking event.
Okay.
You could try a question from the work or school category, like what's the most interesting challenge you faced in your work recently? It's way more engaging than just asking, what do you do?
You know, what's funny is I actually tried that question at a networking event last week.
Oh, yeah.
And the person I was talking to, they totally lit up. They told me this whole story about a project they were working on.
Oh, wow.
And it turned into a really fascinating conversation. We even ended up exchanging contact info.
See?
Yeah.
It works.
It really does.
It's all about, finding those subtle ways to unlock deeper conversations.
Right.
And our source emphasizes that it's not just about the questions themselves.
Right.
It's about how you deliver them.
Oh, right. The source talks about smiling, being friendly, and most importantly, not worrying about making mistakes.
Yeah.
I think that's something we all struggle with.
Oh, for sure.
Especially in new situations,
Right.
We get so caught up in trying to sound perfect
Right.
that we forget to just be ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's such a crucial point.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about flawless execution.
Yeah.
It's about genuine connection.
Right.
People can tell when you're genuinely interested, even if you stumble over your words a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like that saying, people might forget like what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Right.
I think that totally applies to conversations too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about creating a welcoming space, where people feel like they can open up.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of opening up, the source also talks about like the power of open-ended questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious, do you have like a favorite example from those 25 questions that really shows this?
Let me think.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that pops into my mind is, what's your dream destination?
Okay.
It's from the travel and hobbies category,
Yeah.
but I think it goes way beyond just travel. It gets at people's like hopes and dreams, their sense of adventure.
I see what you mean.
It can spark a conversation about what truly excites them.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's not just about where they want to go on vacation. It's like a window into their inner world.
Exactly.
And you could like adapt that to other areas too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's a skill you'd love to learn someday?
Exactly. It invites them to share something they might not normally talk about.
Yeah, I feel like I get stuck asking the same old questions sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how was your weekend? Or
Yeah.
what are you working on? It's like I'm on autopilot.
Yeah.
And the conversation never goes anywhere interesting.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall back on those default questions, especially when you're feeling nervous.
Right.
But what I love about this source is that it gives you a way to break out of that rut.
Yeah.
To think more carefully about your questions and what you really want to learn about the other person.
So true. It's not about like memorizing a script or something. It's
Right.
about having a strategy.
Exactly.
Oh, and the source also mentions active listening.
Yes.
What does that mean to you, like when you're starting conversations?
Well, for me, active listening is about being present.
Okay.
It's not just hearing their words, but truly absorbing what they're saying, paying attention to their body language, and responding in a way that shows you're engaged.
So it's not just about asking the right questions.
Right.
It's about making the other person feel heard.
Exactly. You're creating a space where they feel understood.
Okay, so it's like building a bridge of understanding.
Yes, I like that.
Each question is like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And active listening is what holds it all together.
I love that analogy. And it reminds us that conversation is a two-way street.
Right. It's about giving and receiving, asking and listening.
Exactly. And when both people are present and engaged,
Yeah.
that's when you get those like real moments of connection.
Those aha moments.
Yes, you don't get those from small talk.
Okay, so I'm sold. These 25 questions are way more powerful than I thought.
I know, right?
But I gotta ask,
Yeah.
do you think there are times when a simple, direct question is better than an open-ended one?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And you're right. There are times when a direct question is more appropriate.
Okay.
Like if you need a specific piece of information or you're trying to clarify something.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, when you're trying to build rapport,
Right.
open-ended questions are the way to go.
Makes sense. You got to use the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And sometimes it's about being playful with your questions, too.
No, yeah.
Don't be afraid to add a little humor,
You know, the source has this question in the fun category that always cracks me up.
Oh, yeah?
It's, what's the most embarrassing song you secretly love?
Oh, that's a good one.
I know, right?
It's guaranteed to get people laughing.
And sharing stories.
Yeah, it's a great way to break the ice.
Exactly. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously.
Right, because in the end, conversations are about connecting with other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best way to do that is to just let loose and have fun.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like we've covered so much in this deep dive.
I know, right?
Like my whole view on how to start conversations has like totally shifted.
It's pretty cool how something so simple, like asking the right questions,
Right.
can make such a big difference in how we connect with people.
Totally. So as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
what are like the main takeaways you'd want our listeners to remember?
Well, first of all, you know those categories.
Yeah.
Remember those having like a mental toolkit of questions for all those different situations?
Yeah.
That can really help you feel more confident. You know,
I like that.
no matter what the conversation throws at you.
It's like having a secret weapon for those moments, when you just go blank.
Exactly. And don't forget about the magic of open-ended questions.
Oh, right.
Those are key to like really getting those deep conversations going,
Yeah. It's about asking questions that get people to share their stories and their passions.
Yes. They're unique perspectives.
And of course, we can't forget about active listening.
Well, that's so important.
It's like the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, it lets you build those real connections.
It's amazing how much we can learn about someone when we really listen to what they have to say.
I know, it's true. So before we go, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
Think about the last time you had a really great conversation. The kind that you just felt so engaged in.
Yeah.
What made it so memorable? Was it a certain question? Or the way the other person listened?
Yeah.
When we think back on our own experiences,
Right.
we can learn even more about how to have amazing conversations.
That's such a good point. We're always learning,
We are.
So go out there, experiment with these questions, and most importantly, have fun connecting with people.
Happy conversing.
All right. Ready to unlock some serious word power?
Oh, yeah.
We're taking a deep dive
Absolutely.
into 15 words
Okay.
that can make your English seriously sing. Think Shakespeare, but way less frilly collar,
Right. Not stuffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Not pretentious at all.
No, not at all. These are words that once you know them,
Yeah.
you can really use them to make your communication better,
It's true.
more interesting. So our source material is an article. It's called 15 Words for Outstanding English.
Okay.
But we're going to go deeper than that, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to figure out how to really use these words. So first up is perspicacious. They describe it as insightful, perceptive, like a detective cracking a case wide open.
I like that.
But what makes this more than just,
Right.
smart?
Being smart.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that ability to see what others miss.
Okay.
So a perspicacious person doesn't just gather the information, connect the dots, they really understand
Right.
the why behind the what.
I see. So it's not just about noticing stuff. It's about...
It's with the insight, yeah.
Okay.
Think about, a leader who can predict market trends or something.
Ooh, or a friend.
Yeah.
Who just gives amazing advice.
Yeah, like really on point
Right.
advice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's way more interesting than just being observant, like you said.
Yeah. Insightful is really the key here.
The article gives the example. Her perspicacious comments during the meeting showed her deep understanding of the project.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds like someone who's about to get a promotion.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly. And it's not just about business.
Yeah.
It's relevant in any field. I mean,
For sure.
a perspicacious historian can reframe our view of the past. A perspicacious artist
Yeah.
picks up on those subtle emotions
I see.
we might not even realize we're
Right.
expressing.
Yeah.
It's really powerful stuff.
Okay. All right. Now
Yeah.
this next word, obfuscate.
Ooh. Obfuscate.
This one sounds a little more like villainous, right?
True.
Like a bad guy.
A little bit sneaky.
Yeah.
The obfuscate is to deliberately make something unclear,
Okay.
muddy the waters,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
The article's example talks about like a lawyer trying to
Oh, yeah.
obfuscate the facts to confuse a jury.
Right. It's almost like a verbal smokescreen
Yeah.
just to kind of throw people off.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's not always about being like intentionally deceptive.
Good point.
Is it?
No, sometimes people
Yeah.
obfuscate without realizing it.
Oh, interesting.
Have you ever been stuck listening to someone explain something simple in the most complicated way possible?
Yes.
They might be unintentionally obfuscating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the key here is to be aware of when we're doing it.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody wants to be that person in the meeting. So how about something a little lighter?
Okay. Yeah.
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous.
This one feels very relevant to our world right now. It does. Like the modern world.
It means found everywhere.
Okay.
Literally.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
I like it.
The article talks about the ubiquitous smell of coffee in Paris.
Ooh.
Which
for anyone who's been, it's spot on.
Spot on.
But think beyond the physical.
Yeah.
Like what's ubiquitous?
Yeah, what's
your world?
ubiquitous in your world right now?
Easy. Social media trends.
Ooh, yes.
They pop up.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about them. Then poof.
Gone.
Replaced by the next big thing.
They're so fleeting.
It's fascinating and exhausting all at once.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that fleeting nature,
Yeah.
that's key to understanding ephemeral.
Yeah.
Our next word.
Okay.
It's about things that are beautiful, but temporary.
I like that.
Like cherry blossoms in bloom.
Beautiful. Or viral trends, as you said.
Yeah, exactly.
The article says the beauty of the cherry blossoms is ephemeral, lasting only a week.
I know.
It makes you realize, like, how precious those moments are.
It's true.
Like, you really have to
Yeah.
be present, knowing it's not going to last forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to
Sure.
more than just tangible things. Feelings can be ephemeral too.
Oh, wow.
Like that rush of excitement when you start a new project, or even the kind of bittersweet nostalgia of remembering childhood summers.
Ooh, deep thoughts happening over here.
I know, right?
Now, I gotta admit, discombobulate is just plain fun to say.
Discombobulate.
It sounds like what happens after one too many spins on a merry-go-round.
It does, doesn't it? It does, yeah.
The dictionary definition is to confuse or bewilder.
Right.
But there's almost a playful clumsiness to it
I agree.
that I kind of like.
I like that too.
The article uses the example of being discombobulated by, like, a tough interview question, which, I mean, we've all been there, right?
Oh, we've all been there.
But wouldn't you say there's a difference between being discombobulated and being straight up panicked?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Because discombobulation is more of a temporary state of like, what just happened? It's like your brain needs a moment to catch up.
Yeah. So it's not always a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Sometimes a little discombobulation can be invigorating.
Perhaps, yeah.
Right.
It can shake us out of our routine, force us to think differently.
Oh, I like that.
And that leads us perfectly into our next word.
Okay.
Which embodies this idea of surprise in a very positive way.
Ooh. Okay.
Serendipity.
Ooh, serendipity. I love that word.
It's a good one.
It's like stumbling on a hidden treasure when you least expect it.
You got it.
The article talks about the serendipity of, like, finding a beautiful spot while hiking.
Okay, yeah.
But it can be so much more than that, right?
It can, absolutely.
Yeah.
Serendipity is about those lucky coincidences that shape our lives in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
Meeting a future partner, discovering a new passion. Those moments where it feels like the universe is conspiring in your favor.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think what makes serendipity so delightful is that we can't control it.
Right.
It just happens.
Yeah.
And we get to enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Speaking of enjoying the ride,
okay,
let's talk about voracious.
Ooh, voracious.
It's a word often associated with reading.
Right.
But it applies to anything we approach with, like intense enthusiasm.
That's right.
The article gives the example of someone who's a voracious reader, finishing 3 books a week.
Wow.
I admire that kind of dedication.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say voracious goes beyond just
I think so.
quantity?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's about that hunger, that intense desire to consume and experience whatever it is you're passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah, whether it's
knowledge, travel.
Right, or even, dare I say, podcasts.
Maybe.
Right.
Podcasts.
Now, wouldn't that be a compliment?
That would
to be known as a voracious listener.
A voracious listener.
Of the deep dive.
Of the deep dive. That's what we want. That's right.
Okay.
So, speaking of aspirations.
Yes.
Let's talk about eloquent.
Ooh, eloquent.
Yeah. This word kind of embodies the ideal of expressing oneself beautifully and persuasively.
The article uses the example of, like, a speech so eloquent it moves the audience to tears.
Okay.
But it's not just about grand gestures, right?
Right.
Can't everyday conversations be eloquent?
You can. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Because eloquence isn't about flowery language or trying to sound smart.
Right.
It's about choosing your words carefully to convey your meaning with clarity and passion, maybe even a touch of poetry.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about being intentional
It is.
with our language, even
in casual.
settings.
Yeah, that's something I think we can all work on.
We can all work on that.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. And as we become more eloquent, we open up new possibilities for connection, understanding.
Yeah.
Even, dare I say, a touch of magic in our everyday lives.
I like where this is going.
I know, right?
And luckily, we have even more words to uncover.
We do.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
Because in the next part of our deep dive, we'll be exploring words that delve into the complexities of human nature, emotions, maybe even a few paradoxes.
Ooh, paradoxes.
Along the way.
I'm excited.
So stick around. Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's amazing.
We're knee-deep in fascinating words here.
I know, right?
Exploring how they can help us communicate better.
Absolutely.
And now I'm ready to tackle some of these words that deal with, shall we say, less flattering aspects of human nature. All right, let's do it.
Up first, we have sycophant.
Ah, yes, the flatterer. The yes man, the person who praises insincerely to gain favor.
Right.
The article says a sycophant might tell you your new haircut looks great, even if they secretly think it's a disaster.
Yeah, that's rough.
I know.
But isn't there a fine line between being polite and being a sycophant?
Yeah.
Like, what if I genuinely do like your new haircut?
It's all about intention.
Okay.
A sincere compliment comes from a place of genuine appreciation.
Right.
Sycophancy is all about manipulation.
Oh, okay.
About saying what you think someone wants to hear to get something in return.
So it's about being aware of those underlying motives.
Exactly.
Are we trying to build someone up or are we just trying to butter them up?
Exactly. Butter them up.
And speaking of being aware of underlying motives, our next word is a bit of a head scratcher. Paradoxical.
Paradoxical.
It refers to those situations that seem contradictory, but might actually contain a hidden truth.
Oh, interesting.
The example they use is, it's paradoxical that the more connected we are online, the lonelier some people feel.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, how can those two things coexist?
That's the beauty of a paradox.
Right.
It forces us to question our assumptions and dig deeper.
Okay.
On the surface, constant connection should mean less loneliness.
Right.
But maybe it's the quality, not the quantity of those connections that matters most.
That's a good point. It's like having 1,000 Facebook friends.
Right.
But still feeling like you have no one to call when you're down.
Exactly. And that leads us to a word that describes a potential solution.
Okay.
To that feeling of isolation. Cathartic.
Oh, cathartic.
It's about releasing pent-up emotions.
Right.
In a healthy way.
Yeah.
Think of crying during a sad movie. Or writing in a journal.
Right. The article mentions that writing in a journal every night was a cathartic experience for someone.
It's like purging those emotions onto the page so they don't stay bottled up inside.
Yeah, and catharsis can come from any activity, right, that allows us to process and release those emotions.
It could be dancing, singing, creating art, even having a heart-to-heart conversation with a trusted friend.
It's like giving ourselves permission to feel those feelings fully so we can move through them and come out the other side.
Exactly. And sometimes what helps us move through those feelings is the realization that we're not alone.
Oh, okay.
And that's where our next word comes in.
All right.
Myriad.
Myriad, okay.
It signifies an abundance, a vast number of something.
Right.
The example the article gives is there are myriad reasons why climate change needs immediate attention. Wow. It really underscores the urgency and the complexity of the issue.
But myriad can also be used in a more
personal way.
Yeah,
Think of the myriad experiences that shape us, the myriad choices we make each day, the myriad people whose lives intersect with our own.
It makes you realize like how interconnected we all are. And maybe that's a comforting thought, knowing we're all navigating this vast, complex world together.
Right.
Speaking of navigating the world,
let's
talk about a word that embodies the essence of something.
Right.
Quintessential.
Quintessential?
It's like capturing the soul of something in its purest form.
That's right.
The article mentions, you know, a dish being the quintessential Italian meal.
Right. But how do we apply that to...
Right. Exactly. How do we...
Something more abstract.
Yeah, like a personality trait.
Like a personality trait.
Yeah.
Think of someone you'd consider the quintessential optimist.
Okay.
They radiate positivity, always see the silver lining, lift everyone's spirits.
Right.
They embody the very essence of optimism.
So it's about identifying those core qualities that define something.
Exactly. A person, a place, or even an idea.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Right.
And that brings us to a word that describes a quality I think we could all use a little more of in the world. Magnanimous.
Magnanimous.
It's about being generous, forgiving, and rising above pettiness.
I like that.
Especially when you have the upper hand.
Especially when you have the upper hand.
The article talks about a magnanimous gesture of like donating winnings to charity.
Right.
It's about acting with kindness and compassion.
Yeah.
Even when you don't have to.
Even when you don't have to, that's right.
It's a powerful word.
It is.
Because it suggests like certain nobility of spirit.
Think of a leader who, even after winning a hard-fought election, extends an olive branch to their opponent.
Ooh, that's good.
Or a friend who forgives a betrayal and moves forward with grace.
Okay, that's a high bar.
It is a high bar.
But I love the idea of like striving for that level of magnanimity.
Absolutely.
In our interactions with others.
In our everyday lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And finally, we come to a word that I think perfectly encapsulates the human experience.
Right.
Ineffable.
Ineffable.
Yeah.
This one always gives me chills.
I know, right?
It's about those moments
that are so powerful, so profound that words just can't do them justice.
Right.
The article mentions the ineffable beauty of the Northern Lights.
Yes. It's about those experiences that touch us on a soul level.
Yeah.
That feeling of awe when gazing at the stars.
Right.
The overwhelming love for a child.
Yeah.
The deep grief of losing someone dear.
It's like our language, as vast as it is, sometimes reaches its limits.
It does.
And maybe that's okay.
Maybe that's okay.
Maybe some things are meant to be felt rather than explained.
Yeah, perhaps that's the ultimate lesson here. Language is a powerful tool, but it's not the only tool we have for connecting with the world and each other.
Okay, I'm feeling all introspective now.
A little bit.
But before we get too lost in the ineffable, we have one last word to tackle in our next segment. It's a word that's often used to describe those who possess outstanding English.
Right.
But it can also be a bit of a double-edged sword.
Ooh, a double-edged sword.
Stay tuned to find out what it is. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, word nerds. We've journeyed through words for perceptiveness, fleeting beauty, and even those tricky paradoxes of human nature.
Oh, yeah.
And now for our final word.
Okay.
We're tackling one that's often used to describe those who have, like, a mastery of language.
Okay.
Articulate.
Articulate. It's a word that carries a certain weight, doesn't it?
It does.
To be articulate is to express oneself clearly and effectively, whether through spoken or written word.
The article highlights how someone's articulate arguments can, like, sway a debate.
Okay, yeah.
But it also mentions that the word can be used to subtly reinforce societal biases.
That's an important point to consider.
Right.
who gets praised for being articulate and who gets dismissed
Yeah.
or overlooked.
Yeah.
It's not always about who has the best ideas, but about who has the power and privilege to be heard.
So while articulate can be a compliment,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to be aware of the context
The context.
and the potential biases at play.
Right, exactly.
It's like we've been saying throughout this whole deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Words have power,
They do.
and how we use them matters.
And how we use them matters. It all comes back to that,
Right.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've explored 15 words today,
We had.
each with its own
Yeah.
unique shade of meaning
Mm-hmm.
and potential impact.
Right.
But the real takeaway isn't about memorizing definitions.
No.
It's about becoming more conscious,
Yeah.
more intentional,
Yeah.
more artful in how we use language.
It's like we've been given this new set of tools, and now it's up to us to use them wisely,
Yes.
to build bridges
To build bridges.
rather than walls,
Yes.
to express ourselves authentically,
Authentically.
and to listen deeply.
To the voices of others.
Deeply, that's right.
And maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
as we become more skilled with words, we can create a world
Right.
where everyone has the opportunity
Yeah.
to be heard,
Be heard. Understood.
understood,
And valued
and valued.
for the unique perspectives
Absolutely.
they bring to the conversation.
That's a beautiful thought to end on.
It is. It is.
So to our listeners out there,
Yes.
what are your takeaways from this deep dive?
What really resonated with you? Which
Yeah.
words resonated with you the most?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you plan to use them
How are you going to use them?
in your own life?
Yeah, we encourage you to keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep questioning,
Keep playing.
and keep playing with language.
Yes.
Because the more we understand the power of words, the better equipped we are to use them for good.
And who knows, maybe you'll even discover
Yeah.
a few new favorite words
Some new favorites.
along the way.
Along the way, hit us up on social media.
Yes.
Share your thoughts, your stories,
Let us know.
your word nerd adventures.
Yes, we want to hear it all.
Until next time,
Keep those words flowing.
keep those words flowing. Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're looking into something really interesting. It's hidden fluency. Those signs that you're actually way better at English than you think.
That's a good one.
We found this article and it's called 14 Signs You're More Fluent in English Than You Think. And honestly, some of these are pretty surprising. I had no idea.
Yeah, we always think of fluency as this perfect thing, but this article looks at it differently.
Yeah.
Like how well you actually communicate, not just, perfect grammar and all that.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. It's like real world stuff, not just textbook rules.
Yeah.
So, where do we even start with these 14 signs?
Well, a bunch of them are kind of connected, so we can group them up. Like, have you ever watched a movie, no subtitles or anything, and you still got what was going on, even if you didn't get every single word?
All the time. Wait, does that actually mean something about fluency? The article says it's like you're understanding the context, which is super important for communication. Like you're picking up on clues, not just the words themselves.
Yeah.
The situation, the other people, how they're talking.
Right. That makes sense. It's kind of like when someone uses a word you don't know, but you figure it out from the rest of what they're saying.
Exactly. Or even reading an article with some tough vocabulary. You get the main idea without looking up everything. The article says that's another sign.
So it's not about knowing every word, it's how you use the ones you do know.
Yeah. And this connects to another interesting thing. As you get more fluent, you might not be translating everything in your head anymore.
What? Really? I don't even realize I'm doing that.
It gets so automatic you don't notice. Like ordering food at a restaurant. Are you translating the whole menu before you talk?
No way. I just look and order what I want.
See? That probably means you're thinking in English already, which is like a big fluency thing.
Wow, this is making me rethink my whole English level. I didn't know these little things. Could be such a big deal.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it gets even cooler. The article says even how you think in English changes. Like when you're planning stuff or making sentences in your head.
Instead of thinking it in my own language first, I just think it in English now.
Exactly. It means you're so comfortable with it. It's becoming natural.
This is awesome. I'm already seeing these signs in myself.
Yeah.
What else does the article talk about?
Well, we can't forget about idioms and slang, right?
Oh, I love a good idiom. They're so fun.
And the article says understanding and using them shows you really get the nuances of English. It's not just the words, it's the culture and the meaning behind them.
Yeah, like break the ice doesn't mean literally breaking ice. It means making things more relaxed, starting the conversation.
Exactly. And being able to not just understand, but USE those idioms shows you're going way beyond basic stuff. It's like a deeper level.
Okay, so we got understanding the situation, thinking in English, and using idioms and slang. 3 hidden signs already. What's next?
Let's get into how we actually talk in English. This might surprise you. The article says not overthinking your answers and even using filler words can actually be signs of fluency.
Wait, what? I thought filler words were bad, and like...
It's totally natural, especially for native speakers. Think about it. When you chat with a friend, do you plan every word before you say it?
No way. It's all about the flow.
Right. So if you can answer naturally without overthinking it, and maybe throw in some ums and likes, it could mean you're comfortable, like a native speaker.
That's such a relief. I always feel bad when I use those words, but maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Maybe not. But of course, it's all about balance. They should help your flow, not hurt it.
Right. That makes sense. What else about conversations does the article talk about?
This is interesting. It gets into humor and abstract topics. Those can be hard, even for people who are pretty fluent.
Oh, yeah. I remember struggling with English humor. I never got the jokes.
Well, think about it. Humor isn't just the words. It's the culture, the tone, all these little things. So understanding it means you're fluent on a deeper level.
And what about abstract topics, like philosophy and stuff?
The article says being able to talk about those big ideas means you have really good skills. It's not just describing things.
Yeah.
It's expressing complex thoughts.
That makes sense. When you're talking about something abstract, you have to be more careful with your words.
Exactly. And you know what? They even have a joke example in the article.
Oh, a joke. I love jokes. Tell me.
Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts.
I get it. Skeletons don't have guts, so they can't fight. It's funny because guts means courage, too.
Exactly. You understood the joke perfectly, which means you're getting those subtle things. It's not just knowing the words, it's understanding how they're used in a funny way.
Wow, I'm seeing fluency in a whole new light. We talked about context thinking in English. Idioms, slang filler, words, humor, abstract topics. So much already. What else is there?
There's more. The article talks about writing, understanding different accents, and most importantly, having the confidence to just go for it. But I think that's a lot for now. Maybe we let it all sink in and come back for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. This is giving me so much to think about. Can't wait for the next part. Okay, we're back and ready for more hidden fluency. My mind is still blown from all those signs we talked about.
Yeah, there's a lot more. We're going through this article. 14 signs you're more fluent in English than you think. And we've got some really cool stuff to cover still.
Hit me with it. What else is there?
Well, we were talking about communication, right? Like those moments when things get tricky.
You mean like when you're trying to explain something and the other person just doesn't get it?
Exactly. The article says even those situations can show how fluent you are. If you can handle misunderstandings without freaking out, that's a good sign.
So it's not just about speaking perfectly. It's about knowing how to fix things when you need to.
Yeah. They say it's about being able to rephrase things, explain it differently, maybe use simpler words if they're not understanding you. It's all about keeping the conversation going.
That's true. I used to get so nervous when I had to explain myself. But I've gotten better at it over time. Maybe that's a fluency thing too.
It probably is. The more fluent you are, the more confident you feel, even when things don't go perfectly.
So handling misunderstandings, that's a sign of fluency. Interesting. What else is there about communication?
The article talks about changing your tone depending on who you're talking to.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't talk to your boss the same way you talk to your friend.
Exactly. Being able to change your tone, how you say things, your words, that shows you really get how to communicate in different situations.
It's like reading the room and knowing how to act right.
Yeah. It's being socially smart with the language.
Yeah.
They even give examples in the article, like how you would greet a friend versus how you would start a work meeting.
It's crazy how those little things make such a difference. Okay, so far we've got understanding the situation, thinking in English, idioms, slang, talking naturally with those filler words, understanding humor, abstract topics, handling misunderstandings, A&D, changing our tone. Did I miss anything?
Wow, you got it all. We're making good progress through these 14 signs, but we're not done yet. The article also talks about writing in English. understanding different accents, and the most important thing, having the confidence to just use your English.
Okay, let's talk writing. I think a lot of people get more nervous about writing than speaking. It feels so much more serious.
I get it. Writing is different. But the article says if you can write emails or messages naturally, without checking every grammar rule, that's actually a big deal.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself clearly.
Exactly. They give this example of a casual email to a coworker. Hi, Sarah. Just following up on the report. Let me know if you need anything else. Single to the point, gets the job done.
I like that. It's not about trying to sound super fancy. It's about using writing to communicate.
Right. Which brings us to understanding different accents. That can be tough.
Oh, yeah. When I first started watching British TV shows, I needed subtitles to understand anything.
That happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But being able to understand different accents, whether it's British, American, Australian, whatever, it shows you have really good listening skills.
So it's not just about speaking, it's about understanding all the different ways people say it.
Yeah. It's a super useful skill, especially these days when we talk to people from all over the world. The article even talks about watching shows like Sherlock with those British accents, or Friends with the American accents, and being able to understand them without a problem.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I can watch those shows without subtitles now. Maybe I am more fluent than I thought.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're improving without even realizing it.
And that brings us to the last sign we'll talk about today, confidence. This one's really important.
Well, definitely. I think a lot of people are scared to speak English because they don't feel confident. That's why this article is so good. It says fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being comfortable enough to use your English, even if you make mistakes sometimes.
That makes me feel better. It's okay to mess up a little as long as you're communicating right.
Right. They have this example of someone correcting themselves while they're talking. Like yesterday I go to the park. I just went to the park.
Yeah.
The point is they fixed the mistake and kept going.
It's like it's okay to be human. We're not robots. Fluency is about connecting with people.
Exactly. It's about using English to build relationships, share ideas, and experience the world.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening, but it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
There's definitely more to talk about. But I think it's good to let all this sink in for a bit. And then we can come back for the last part of our deep dive and wrap it all up.
That sounds like a plan. I can't wait to see what else we uncover. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into hidden fluency.
It's amazing how much we learned about how we use English, isn't it?
I know. It's like we've been fluent all along, but we didn't even realize it. So now what? What do we do with all this new information?
Well, that's where the last part of this article gets really interesting. It's not just about knowing the signs. It's about how we think about our fluency, like shifting our mindset from what we're bad at to what we're good at.
I like that. So what kind of advice do they give?
First, they say to just think about your journey with English. Like, where did you start and how far have you come? All those milestones.
Yeah, it's so easy to forget about all the progress we've made. We're always focused on what's next.
I know. But celebrating those wins, even the small ones, can really help us keep going. The article also says to look for chances to use English in real life, like talking to friends, watching movies, reading stuff, and notice how much you need help.
So it's about putting ourselves out there and just using the language.
Exactly. The more you do it, the more you'll realize you can actually do it. You can talk to people, understand things, express yourself. It's about focusing on what you can do.
I love that. It takes the pressure off of being perfect.
Right. And even celebrating those little wins is important. Like, if you understood a movie without subtitles, or explained something complicated in English, or had a good conversation with a native speaker, those are all wins.
It's like giving ourselves credit for how much we've learned.
Yeah. And this next one is super important. Don't compare yourself to others.
Oh, that's so hard, though. It's easy to look at other people and feel bad.
I know it's tempting. But everyone learns differently. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. The article says to focus on your journey and your goals.
That's good advice. It's like we're all running our own race.
Exactly. And fluency isn't about reaching some finish line. It's about using English to connect with people, share your thoughts, and see the world.
This whole deep dive has been so cool. I feel like I understand fluency in a totally new way.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And that's the message I want you to take away. Fluency is a journey. It's about always learning and growing, but it's also about appreciating how far you've come already.
I like that. Before we finish, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Good idea.
Yeah.
How about this? What's one thing about your English fluency that you want to work on?
That's a great question. It makes people think about what they're good at and what they want to improve.
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong answer. Maybe it's idioms or feeling more confident or understanding different accents. It's all about choosing your own path.
So true. Well, that's it for our deep dive into hidden fluency. Thanks for joining us. We hope you learned something new about your own English skills.
And remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing and keep celebrating your wins.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today into common English mistakes.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and we've got this really cool source that approaches it from the perspective of someone learning English as a second language.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a neat way to think about it because even if you are a native English speaker, I think we can all agree we make mistakes sometimes.
Absolutely.
So why don't we just jump right into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the first things that the source mentions that can be a real struggle for English language learners is mixing up he and she. And they even have this funny little tip in here where they say, to imagine Tom Cruise for he and Beyonce for she.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you think that would actually help?
I think that using really strong visuals like that can definitely help.
Yeah.
Because I think our brains are wired for those kinds of connections.
Yeah.
But, ultimately the key is to really practice identifying the gender before you speak, rather than trying to catch yourself mid-sentence.
Yeah, that's true, because once you've already caught yourself mid-sentence, you're already kind of flustered at that point.
Exactly.
Okay, now this next one, the source points out, I think is another really common one.
Okay.
And that is misusing A and N.
Yeah.
Now, this is one where we have to remember it's about that initial sound of the word.
Right.
Not necessarily just the letter that a word starts with.
Exactly.
So, for example, we say an hour.
Right.
Even though hour starts with an H, because it sounds like it starts with a vowel.
Right.
The source even jokes about how no one would ever say a apple.
Right.
Because it just sounds wrong.
It sounds wrong.
So your ear really is a powerful tool.
Yeah, it is.
When it comes to language.
Absolutely.
All right. This next one always makes me cringe a little bit when I hear it.
Oh, okay.
And that is, I am agree. I feel like I hear that one quite a bit.
You do?
Even from people who have been speaking English for a while.
Yeah, it's a common one.
So what is the correct way to say that?
The correct way is just, I agree.
I agree.
And I think what happens is that a lot of times people are bringing in rules from other languages.
Oh, interesting.
Where you might need that helping verb. But in English, agree can stand alone.
Okay, so it's almost like they're carrying over a rule from another language.
Exactly.
Into English, and it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about something that I think trips up a lot of people.
Okay.
And that is prepositions.
Yeah.
The source really focuses on in, on, and at.
Okay.
Which I think we all know can be notoriously tricky.
Yeah, very tricky.
And they have this visual breakdown that they do where they say that in is basically like being inside a box.
Okay.
On is being on a surface, and at is like pointing to a very specific spot.
Right.
So do you find that that kind of visual approach is helpful when you're thinking about prepositions?
I think it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Especially for things like prepositions that deal with spatial concepts.
Right.
It can really solidify the meaning.
Yeah.
And I think you can even take it a step further and really try to visualize those things in your mind.
Okay.
So, when you use in, think about being surrounded by the car.
Oh, yeah.
Or when you think about on, think about the bus as kind of this big flat surface.
Oh, that's a good one.
That you're on top of.
Okay, yeah. Those are great additions.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing the source brings up is the very common mistake of using double negatives.
Yeah.
So, for example, I don't know nothing. Now, why do you think this mistake is so common?
I think it probably has to do with the fact that people are over-applying a rule. We know the past tense of go is went.
Right.
So we instinctively want to use it.
Yeah.
But with that helping verb did, we always use the base form of the main verb.
So did already covers the past tense.
Okay.
So it should be I didn't go. Okay. All right. Shifting gears a little bit. The source mentions that overusing the word very is something that a lot of advanced learners tend to do. Yeah. They actually suggest that instead of just constantly using the word very, to try to swap it out for a stronger vocabulary word.
Yes.
So why is that so important?
Well, I think that using very all the time makes your writing or your speech sound very repetitive and kind of weak.
Okay.
So instead of very tired, you could say exhausted.
Yeah.
Instead of very happy, you could say thrilled.
Oh, I like that one.
So, just expanding that vocabulary
Yeah.
will make your English sound much more sophisticated.
I can definitely see that. Using more descriptive words really elevates your writing and makes it sound more interesting.
Yes.
All right, now let's tackle a pair of words that I think a lot of people get confused about.
Okay.
And that is since and for.
Yeah.
What is the key difference between those two words and how do we use them correctly?
The key difference is that since refers to a specific point in time,
Okay.
and for refers to a duration of time.
Oh, okay.
So you could say, I've been living here since 2010,
Yeah.
but I've lived here for 10 years.
Okay, that's a really good explanation.
Yeah.
So since kind of pinpoints that starting point,
Mhm.
and then for lets us know how long something has been going on.
Right.
Okay. Now, another mistake that I have noticed people make, and this is one that I've even noticed native English speakers
Yeah.
get wrong sometimes,
Uh,
is mixing up less and fewer.
Right.
Why is that one so tricky?
This one comes down to the difference between countable and uncountable nouns.
Okay.
So fewer is used for things that you can count individually,
Okay.
like apples or dollars.
Right.
And less
Right.
is for things that you can't count individually,
Gotcha.
like water or time.
So you would say fewer cookies, but less milk.
Exactly.
But you know what I have noticed sometimes?
What's that, Deuce?
Is that I've seen signs, like at the grocery store, checkout,
Right.
that say 10 items or less.
Right.
Which it seems to go against the rule, doesn't it?
It does. That's an interesting exception.
Yeah.
Technically, it should be 10 items or fewer,
Right.
but in this case, less has become pretty widely accepted.
Yeah, I guess that's just one of those quirks of the English language.
Exactly.
All right, let's wrap up this first part of our deep dive
Okay.
with one final distinction the source makes.
Okay.
And that is between fun and funny.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like sometimes people use these interchangeably,
They do?
but there is a slight difference
There is.
between them. So
Right.
can you kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, so fun is something that's enjoyable.
Okay.
It's a very broad term. There
Yeah.
can be lots of different kinds of experiences.
Uh-huh.
Whereas funny specifically refers to something that makes you laugh.
Okay, so going to a party could be fun,
Right.
but a joke would be funny. Okay, so recognizing that distinction can really help you.
Yeah.
Choose the right word
Choose the right word.
to get your meaning across.
Right.
Oh my goodness, we've covered so much already. We went from basic pronoun usage to the nuances of fun versus funny. It's amazing how much these seemingly small mistakes can impact how we communicate. We'll be right back in just a moment to continue our deep dive into these common English errors.
Sounds good. It's amazing how language is always kind of evolving, isn't it?
Yeah.
What might be a mistake in one context
Right.
might be totally acceptable.
Right.
Or even like a deliberate choice
Yeah.
in a different context.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it actually reminds me of what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
With those double negatives.
Yeah.
Like grammatically they're incorrect
Uh-huh.
in standard English, but the source did point out that sometimes
Right.
they are used intentionally for emphasis,
Right.
or even in certain dialects.
Yeah, exactly. Like if someone says, I ain't got no time for that.
Yeah.
Grammatically it's incorrect, but it conveys a much
The hunger.
stronger sense of urgency
Yeah.
than if you just said, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, it definitely adds a certain flavor and even a bit of personality to the language.
It does. And it really highlights how language is about so much more
Right.
than just rules.
Yeah.
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 It's about conveying meaning. It's about connecting with people
Right.
in a way that resonates.
Absolutely. And I think that also ties into how important the context is
Right.
that language is being used in.
Exactly.
Something that might be perfectly acceptable to say in a casual conversation,
Right.
you probably wouldn't want to say in a formal setting.
Exactly. Knowing your audience and adjusting your language accordingly is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's about being adaptable and sensitive to those nuances of communication.
Okay, let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about something that often trips up even advanced English learners.
Okay.
And that is the difference between since and for.
Now, the source emphasizes that since is used for a specific point in time, while for is used for a duration.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to consider how those two concepts, like a point in time versus a duration,
Right.
how those kind of extend beyond just since and for.
Yeah,
And they play a role in so many other aspects of English grammar.
absolutely.
Could you give me an example of that?
Sure. Think about how we use different tenses
Oh, yeah.
to express actions that happen in the past,
Uh-huh.
are happening now, or will happen in the future.
Right.
Those tenses are all related to time,
Uh-huh.
just like since and for.
Yeah.
Even adverbs like yesterday, currently, or tomorrow
Yeah.
help us pinpoint specific points in time or durations.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. It shows how interconnected all these different elements of grammar are.
They really are.
So it's not just about memorizing rules, it's about understanding those bigger concepts.
It's about understanding the why behind those rules.
Exactly. Now, getting back to since and for, I did want to add just a little nuance.
Okay.
You know, while since is often used for a specific point in the past,
Right.
it can also be used for an action that started in the past,
Okay.
but is continuing in the present.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've been working since 8 a.m. would indicate that that action of working
Right.
started at 8 in the morning, but is still ongoing.
It's still going on. Exactly.
So it's not just like a past event. It's like a continuing thing.
Right.
Okay, now another pair of words that I've noticed that people often mix up, even native speakers,
Okay.
is less and fewer.
Right.
What is the key to really mastering those two?
The rule is based around the idea of countable versus uncountable nouns.
Okay.
So fewer is for things that we can count individually,
Right.
like cars or books or mistakes.
Okay.
And less is for things that we can't count individually, like traffic,
Oh, okay.
information, or stress.
Okay, so it's basically about whether you can make the noun plural or not.
Exactly.
So fewer cookies, but less sugar.
Right.
But I have noticed people say things like 10 items or less,
Right.
you know, at the grocery store checkout.
Yeah.
And that seems to go against the rule.
It does. That's one of those cases where, despite the rule, common usage has kind of shifted.
Yeah.
And less before a countable quantity like items has become widely accepted.
So it's one of those exceptions that proves the rule.
Exactly. And it shows you how language is constantly changing and adapting to how people use it.
Yeah, it's a living, breathing thing.
It is.
All right, let's wrap up this segment with one final distinction that the source makes
Okay.
between fun and funny.
Okay.
Now, it's easy to think of these as kind of interchangeable,
Right.
but there is a subtle but important difference between the two.
Right. Fun is this really broad term that just encompasses any enjoyable experience,
Right.
whether it involves laughter or not.
Okay.
Going to a concert,
Yeah.
playing a game, having a challenging workout. All of those things can be fun.
So fun is really about that overall enjoyment
Yeah.
of an experience, but
Yeah.
funny is specifically something that makes you laugh.
Exactly. A joke, a witty comment, a slapstick routine, those would be funny.
Okay, so funny is about humor,
Yes.
but fun is much broader.
Much broader.
It can be anything that's enjoyable.
Right.
And using those words correctly really ensures that we're communicating our intended meaning.
Yes. And the more precise we are with our language, the more effectively we can express ourselves.
Well said. You know, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
And I'm sure at this point you are starting to see
Uh-huh.
those common English mistakes in a whole new light.
I hope so. I think it's really easy to overlook those things.
Right.
When you're just speaking or writing quickly.
But hopefully you're also starting to appreciate
Yes.
the richness and complexity
Absolutely.
of the English language.
There's a lot to learn.
There is. We'll be right back with some final thoughts and maybe even a little challenge for you. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive today into common English mistakes. I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to pay a lot more attention to the way I use language.
Yeah, me too.
It's amazing how much we can learn just by being more mindful, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like we've been sharpening our linguistic tools.
Yeah, exactly.
And the more we use them, the better we get at it.
Exactly. You know, as we've been discussing all these common errors, it's kind of made me wonder about what other subtle mistakes we might be making
Right.
without even realizing it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think each of us probably has our blind spots
Yeah.
when it comes to language.
Sure.
Maybe it's a particular word we misuse or a grammar rule that we just always forget.
Oh, yeah. I know I have a couple of those. Like, I always have to double check myself when I'm using affect or effect.
Right.
I can never remember which one to use.
Yeah, that's a classic one.
Yeah, and it really just highlights the importance of staying curious about language, I think.
Yeah,
And to keep learning. It's all about that exploration.
absolutely.
And really, that's what this whole deep dive is all about. It's not about reaching some unattainable level of perfection or anything. It's
Right.
more about just embracing that journey of learning and growing, I think.
It's all about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And remember, even the most experienced writers and speakers make mistakes
Oh, for sure.
all the time. So the key is to just approach language with a sense of humility, I think.
Yeah,
And always be willing to learn from those mistakes.
absolutely.
So to kind of wrap up this episode today, we have a little bit of a challenge for you.
I like it.
Take some time to reflect on your own language habits.
Okay.
Are there any words or phrases that you tend to misuse? Any grammar rules that trip you up?
Good questions.
Once you've kind of pinpointed what some of those blind spots are, maybe make a conscious effort to just pay more attention to them
Yeah.
in your everyday communication. Maybe even jot down a few notes
Right.
or look up some examples. But just remember, this isn't about beating yourself up.
Yeah.
It's more about recognizing those areas where you can grow and improve.
It's about celebrating the fact that there's always more to learn.
Exactly. And ultimately embracing the beauty and complexity of the English language and using it to really express yourself in the most powerful and authentic way you can.
Well said. So until next time, keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep questioning,
Yes.
and keep striving to become the best communicator that you can be.
And don't be afraid to make a few mistakes along the way.
Mistakes help us learn.
They really do.
Oh.
Until next time, happy diving.